Thanks. On the attack at Al-Asad earlier this week, how many U.S. service members were injured total? I believe we got 7 service members and contractors were injured, but has that number gone up since? And how many have returned to duty? How many are still seeking treatment?
Yeah, no, thanks, Liz, for the question. So initially, our assessment was that it was 7 personnel that were injured. That was our initial report. It is actually 5 service members that were injured in the attack. After conducting a post-strike analysis, we determined that 4 service members and 1 contractor was actually injured in the attack. The other 2 received, very minor injuries and returned to duty right away. And again, it was 2 personnel initially thought to have been injured during the attack, but were screened by medics, and after that attack were immediately returned to duty. In terms of the status of the other personnel, 3 of the 5 injured personnel have been transferred to Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany for additional treatment. The remaining personnel, the one service member and contractor, have returned to duty and are in the region.
And can you explain what exactly happened? Was it 2 rockets that impacted the base, or how was this able to get past the U.S. protective?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So it was 2 rockets launched by what we believe to be an Iranian-backed Shia militia group that impacted Al-Asad Airbase in Iraq. There was a 3rd rocket that was intercepted before it impacted the base. In terms of how these rockets got through, look, that's something that CENTCOM is going to review and is reviewing right now. We want to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And so CENTCOM is going to adjust and take the proper measures needed to protect our forces in the region. But I don't have more to share right now.
Thank you, Sarah. Just getting back to Iraq. The Iraqi government is responsible for protecting U.S. forces in the country. But I don't know if the Prime Minister of Iraq is not willing or does not have the control to rein in these militia groups to protect U.S. forces. So what measures are you going to take?
Well, before I walked up here, I saw that the Iraqi government arrested 5 people that were considered responsible for the attack on U.S. forces at Al-Asad Airbase, and we certainly welcome those actions. We have a good partnership with the Iraqi government, and what I will say is sort of to what Joe was asking me about is I'm not going to telegraph or get ahead of the secretary, but we always will take measures to protect our forces, and should we decide to respond, it will be at a time and place of our choosing, and I wouldn't be announcing that from the podium.
Thank you.
Yes, in the back.
Same issue. This time, a new group in Iraq, they called themselves Sawiyun. They pushed a statement and they claimed the responsibility for this attack. But still, you have not labeled any militia groups in Iraq which were behind this attack. So, do you welcome or do you buy this statement by this Iraqi militia group is that they were behind this attack? And why it takes so long for you to determine which group was behind this attack?
We know that it is a Iranian-backed Shia militia group that is responsible for this attack. Am I going to go into our intelligence assessments here from the podium with you? I'm just not going to do that. But I haven't seen the statement from this group. What I can tell you is we always reserve the right to respond to protect our forces, and I'm just going to have to leave it at that.
Has the Iraqi government requested you to not attack these groups, to not respond to these groups because they are taking care of those who were responsible for that? And adding that, there were some reports from the Iraqi media that the U.S. were involved in arresting these members of the militia groups who were behind this attack. Have you been involved in these arrests?
I'm not aware of U.S. forces being involved in the arrest of individuals that were responsible for the attack. We pass on intelligence when it comes to, we're always coordinating with the Iraqi government, and of course, in close coordination when it comes to an attack on U.S. forces and making sure that the Iraqi government is aware that, and we've said this both publicly and privately in our conversations, that we will always do what we need to do to protect our forces. And if that means a response, we will take it. But I have nothing to telegraph for you from here, and just not going to get into any other intel.
I requested you to not respond to this attack because they are taking care of this issue?
I don't have anything for you on that, and I don't have any calls to read out. I'm going to come back in the room, but I'm just going to go to the phone before I forget. Jeff Shogel, task and purpose.
Thank you. Have there been any more attacks on U.S. troops in Iraq and Syria since the Al-Asad attack? And the foiled attack on Taylor Swift concerts, does DoD know, was that planned by ISIS leadership in Syria, or is it proof that low-level haters gotta hate?
All right. Well, thanks, Jeff, for the question. In terms of any attacks on U.S. forces or any additional attacks on U.S. forces since the initial attack at Al-Asad Airbase, I'm not aware of any. But I'd refer you to CENTCOM for any more details. In terms of the thwarted ISIS plot on the Taylor Swift concerts in Vienna, I think we know all too well the threat of ISIS, and we will always do what we need with our partners and allies in passing on, whether it be intelligence or any support when it comes to ISIS or any threats that our partners or allies might face anywhere in the world. I don't have more for you other than that, but thanks for the question.